Hello, fellow humans. Today is Wednesday, March the 1st, 2023. Can't believe it's March already, but I'm excited for spring. I'm even more excited because today is Disney Tattoo Day. And today I get to get a piece that will pay a little bit of a tribute to my favorite Disney resort, the Contemporary. I had a chance to stay there in 2019 and absolutely loved it. I was always fascinated by it as a child. And it's one of the two original resorts on Disney property, Walt Disney World property, that is. And it opened in 1971. But inside the resort is the Grand Canyon Concourse. And there is a huge 90-foot mural that's inside the Contemporary. And on that mural is a very interesting animal with a little bit of an intentional defect. And if you know what I'm talking about, you've seen it and you know exactly where I'm going with this. But to understand that piece and that animal, you probably need to know a little bit more about the history of the Contemporary Resort, as well as the artist Mary Blair, who painted that mural. So let's take a look at that first.
A project so vast, it has already been called a whole new Disney World. And now, here is Walt Disney.
Welcome to a little bit of Florida here in California. This is where the early planning is taking place for our so-called Disney World project. Now, the purpose of this film is to bring you up to date about some of the plans for Disney World. But before I go into any of the details, I want to say just a word about the site of our Florida project. As you can see on this map, we have a perfect location in Florida, almost in the very center of the state. In fact, we selected this site because it's so easy for tourists and Florida residents to get here by automobile.
As I stated earlier, the Contemporary is my favorite resort. I was always fascinated by it as a child, and it's one of the two original resorts on the Walt Disney World property. It was originally supposed to be named the Tempo Bay Hotel, but they changed that, and of course it's still the Contemporary today. Even though it's not so contemporary, it's still the Contemporary Resort. It opened in 1971, and there's so much history that has taken place in this resort. Walt Disney himself never saw the resort or Magic Kingdom finished, but he did walk on the property of what is the Contemporary Resort now. If you do a Google search, you can find some photos of him looking at various maps in the swamplands of Florida, and that is taking place on the backside of the Contemporary Resort. Inside the Contemporary Resort is a giant mural, and that mural was painted by this woman, artist Mary Blair. Mary Blair was hired by Walt Disney himself back in around 1940, and she worked on various arts and animations for Walt Disney Company like Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Cinderella. She even worked on some of the character designs for It's a Small World out in Disneyland. Mary Blair was Walt Disney's favorite artist. He loved her art, he loved working with Mary Blair. And unfortunately, Walt passed away in 1966. But 4 years later, in 1970, Mary Blair was hired to make this giant mural in the Grand Canyon Concourse of the Contemporary Resort. It is 9 stories tall. On this 90-foot tall mural, you'll see many different goats climbing the canyon walls. They're all dressed in blue and white zigzag stripes, and they all have similar face structure and large white horns, but there's one goat that is a little different than the rest. Are you familiar with this goat? This one goat is slightly different because it has 5 legs. It was done intentionally by Mary Blair to honor the Native American spirit, believing that nothing man creates can ever be perfect, for we are, in fact, only human.